Welcome. Free fall. Upward motion. Section A, we consider an object which is thrown vertically upward. We have already solved problem 1, 2. You will find all of these video on our channel. Please don't forget to subscribe. Now let's solve which problem here. Problem 18. Let's solve problem 18 now. Please subscribe. Go on our channel and you will find all of these problems solved. Problem 18. A pellet gun is fired straight downward from the edge of a cliff that is 15 meters above the ground. The pellet strikes the ground with a speed of 27 meters per second. How far above the cliff edge would the pellet have gone had the gun been fired straight upward? In other words, if our gun had been fired straight upward, how above the cliff edge would the pellet have gone? Let's make a diagram. First of all, we are given a height and initial velocity. We have given the speed here. The pellet strikes the ground with a speed of 27 meters. Here you have two situations to now. Here we have two situations to scheme. We make two diagrams. This is my cliff. This is my cliff. In first situation, my gun is fired downward. See? My gun is... This is a first situation. Well, my gun is fired downward. Well, here at the bottom of our cliff, V equal to 7 meters per second. Now we have V. Second situation, if our gun was fired straight upward. See here, upward. If our gun had been fired upward, find this maximum height. Now let's use this first situation to find initial velocity. This first situation will help us find the initial velocity where we use V equal u square negative 2h. Notice that this direction, this downward direction, is negative. This means that this displacement, the displacement of our pellet will be negative, because remember, we assume that this upward direction is always positive. Now this means that from this equation, see, don't forget u square to j. Now h is negative due to our assumption. Our assumption that upward direction is positive, meaning that downward is negative. Now v equal u positive to j h. Now we have to find this u. Now u equal u square equal, solving for u square, you find v square negative 2jh. Now replacing, what do we get? Replacing, what do we get? What do we get here? We get v is already given 27 square negative 2 times 9.8 times 8, which is 15 meter. Now you get 729 negative 294. You get 435 u square. You see, my u square equal like this. Let me keep it like this, because in my problem I'm required to find my problem 18. The problem is that how far above the cliff edge would the pellet have gone had the gun been fired straight upward? If my gun had been fired straight upward, how far above the cliff edge would the pellet have gone? We invert here the situation. Our diagram. Now find this maximum height. Find this maximum height here. This maximum height here. If my gun had been fired straight upward. Now this maximum height, to find this maximum height, remember at this point v equals 0. Now this equation will become like this. Will become like this. V equals 0 at maximum height. Now we get, now to find the maximum height, we solve for h. Solving for h to find the maximum height, and u square over 2j over 2j. Remember, down below you have u square. See here, my u square. I avoid evaluating this square root for gaining my time here in solving problem. Now this u, we find this u square equal 435. Now putting this value here, what will we get? We get the maximum height. We find that u equal 435 over 2 times 8.9.8. we get, what do we get here? We get, using a calculator, you find 2.286, rounding all the 1 decimal places, you find 2.3 meter. If my gun had been fired straight upward, the maximum height reached would have been 2.3 meter. Now our problem is solved. Our problem is well solved. Let me see here. This problem 18. Yes, 18 is well solved.